On today's show, Mavs Draft, a.k.a. Richard, is with us to talk about 10 prospects the Dallas Mavericks could and should target in the NBA draft. We'll talk about all of them on today's Locked On Mavs. Let's go.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can subscribe to the show. And the best way to help us grow is to comment below. Comment who you want the Mavericks to take with the 26th pick. Let us know, and Richard will skim through all those comments and see how many of those are stupid ideas, how many are great ideas, and all that. He'll give his stamp of approval. Joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com, the draft room reject, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Yeah, like I just stormed out of the draft room and made you make a draft.
I didn't get an invite? What do you mean I didn't get an invite?
So every year we do this Locked On mock draft.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun for all the Locked On hosts of the teams. We really act like we're the GMs, probably put too much into this. But wheeling and dealing, we've made trades literally since 2017. A lot of you who've listened to this pod for a while, you know about this mock draft because we talk about the trades and everything. We're trying to wheel and deal right now because this mock draft's happening right now within the network, and then we'll release the results and stuff, obviously. But we're trying to move up in the draft, so we're trying to get a big and move up at the same time. No luck yet, but just stay tuned.
We're trying. Like I said, on today's show, we're going to get into 10 prospects the Mavericks could target with the 26th pick. We have Richard Stayman, who is from the NBA Big Board podcast with Rafael Barlow. We've been hyping up that show for like months. You should go listen to it. It's great stuff. Incredible information on the draft. Richard, let's start with our first draft prospect I have right here. This is one we talked about a little bit on yesterday's episode, but we'll get into it a little bit deeper here. Jaylin Williams, the 6'6" wing from Santa Clara. Tell me what's the pros for the Mavericks and the cons for the Mavericks if they went with him with the 26th pick.
Yeah, let's start with the pros because the cons are just going to be ridiculously short. You finally get a wing who can create for himself. The Mavs really just don't have that. You look at the creators on this team, and all three of them are guards. There's really only three creators, and the Mavs address that. Jalen Williams is the only player I feel like this year that took advantage of Chet when Chet was guarding him, the potential number one pick, Chet Holmgren.
In what way? Like in driving at him, posting up him, or like what way did he take advantage?
Yeah, no, he took him in isolation and made him look absolutely silly. He threw him off balance, was able to finish around him. There's so much upside with him. You look at him as a three-level scorer, shot 51% this year as a junior, 18 points a game, 40% from three, can pass the ball, he can defend. There's really almost no holes. The only question is, he's a junior, and how consistent is it going to scale up from Santa Clara?
Isaac is a full-time pastor and a dad, and literally the most juvenile of any of us. He is a father of two, and I can't do
I'm laughing at Nick.
Richard is the most professional of any of us here.
I know he is.
God,
because he's the expert of
take advantage of him now.
You asked the question, so I had to drink my apple juice. Let me ask the dumb question. It's like watered down apple juice because it's for kids, and I'm like, this sucks. Anyway, this could be a really dumb question, but how does somebody just come out of nowhere after the combine? Like, I feel like I didn't hear much about this guy's name. He obviously plays at Santa Clara, and now he goes to the combine. Now it's like, oh my gosh, you could be a lottery pick. Like, is that like a bad thing, or is this hey, you don't fall in love too quick here? I don't know. Like, why was he not talked about before?
Yeah, I think it roots just from the fact that he played at Santa Clara, was a junior, and the first two seasons for him really weren't that efficient. I mean, he shot 40% last year on 11.5 points per game. So not very much historic background on him. He shot 27%. So massive improvements. And for me, he caught my eye when they played TCU. I saw every TCU game this year, and I was like, this guy is probably an NBA guy. Didn't think anything of it. I should have pursued that thought, but I ultimately did not until pretty recently. But, I think it just comes back to the West Coast Conference. He played well at the Combine, measured well at the Combine, and I think ultimately those are things that it means he probably scales up to these teams.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask about my guy. He's not going to be there for Dallas at 26, but just if Dallas can move up, can you just give us your spiel on Tari Eason? He's 6'7", obviously over 7 foot wingspan, and I just like everything about this guy. I want him to be there so bad, but why will he not be there for Dallas?
But I wouldn't rule it out entirely. Dramatic gasp. I know. I should have prepared for this. The audience paused. No, I think just basketball IQ is a genuine concern for him. How quick can he process things, especially on the defensive end? He does have the tools to be elite just about at everything. You look at the shooting percentages are really strong, massive hands. There's a Masai index for these guys who are.
Did you say Messiah?
Yeah, pretty much a Masai index for the Masai Ujiri. If they're 6'8", have a 7'2" wingspan, and have like 10+ inch hands, these are the Masai guys. Kawhi fits that bill. Scotty Barnes fits that bill, and Tari Eason might be that. So he checks all the physical boxes, has all the statistical backgrounds, analytical darling, but struggles with his left hand. Motor is an issue, and I've heard basketball.
Is this all the
IQ.
same thing?
Yeah, these are all the same thing.
I've heard basketball IQ is plagued him a little bit in draft workouts as well. So just that combination makes him a little bit unpredictable. A lot of people say he's not going past Houston. I could see him sliding because of the basketball IQ and left hand issues, 2 separate issues. I should remind you.
I think he should slide. I think because of all those reasons, he should slide pretty far. Please. Now his hand measurements at the combine too was just unreal too. And I don't know. I just really like the guy, and I typically lean towards just take a wing and be done with it. A 6'6" to 6'9" guy and be done. And I think in that mid first round, he's one of the best swings to take. But
let me throw out one quickly here so that you can just get it over with and not have to talk about it on Locked On Mavs ever again. But since we're doing prospects, Walker Kessler is a center, and the Mavericks want a center, and he's going to be in the range. For the
God
Mavericks.
bless.
I'm just people are going to want to know about it. Why the 7-foot center from Auburn that had one of the highest shot block rates in college? Why is he not a guy for the Mavericks?
The Guardian just opened their computer.
Well, let me ask this. Isaac, you're a North Carolina fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you don't like Walker. That's an immediate reason.
He bolted. And it's like, all right, cool.
No North Carolina fan likes him. But for me, it doesn't. I'm not a North Carolina. I don't have any opinion on it one way or another. For me, it roots to, yes, he is an elite shot blocker. Will it translate? I don't think so. One, really struggles on the perimeter. That takes away a lot of those shot blocking abilities. Yes, he can recover from plays because he's so long, but he's so slow. He looks like he's just moving in quicksand. Has long arms, of course, but I worry about it actually working. He hunts blocks so much. He just looks horribly stiff on the perimeter. Just any drive, he just goes for the block. He doesn't try to impact the shot. It's block the shot. And then on offense, I just don't believe he's going to be able to score.
There you go. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now you never have to do it on Locked On Mavs ever again. We did it 2 days in a row, and now you don't have to. Coming up, there's a couple other bigs we need to talk about. Christian Koloko, Nikola Jovic is a really interesting prospect that the Mavs can take a big swing on. So we'll talk about all that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They're absolutely delicious. They still have the brownie batter puffs. That means I have not done enough of a good enough job pitching these bars because they're absolutely delicious. Covered in the best chocolate that I've had on a candy bar in a long time. Filled with brownie batter flavored marshmallow in the middle. They're absolutely delicious. Go check them out. 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, only 7 grams of sugar in a bar that's covered in 100% chocolate. Like I said, go check them out. Try them. Try them in a variety pack if you want to. They are absolutely delicious, and you can get 15% off with the promo code LOCKED15. That's the locked and then the number 1 and the number 5. LOCKED15 is the promo code to get 15% off your entire order. It's built.com. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen. We have an important favor to ask you. We put together a survey so we can learn more about listeners like you and make sure that our favorite Locked On podcasts get even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and what you don't like about Locked On Pods, maybe even Locked On Mavs. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take too long. lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. Anybody that completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards to go to a Mavs game, to go to a college game, whatever you want to go to. lockedonpodcast.com/survey. All right, Isaac Harris, we're here with Richard Stayman, aka Mavs Draft from the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. We've been talking about some prospects, 10 prospects that the Mavericks could target that could be in the range for the Mavericks here. Another big man, the 6'10" big from Arizona, Christian Koloko, is probably going to be in the Mavericks range. What's the overall thoughts on him, and could he be an impact player for the Mavericks day one like they would want?
Can I add to that real quick the question?
Hold on, you got to say the thing.
One more thing. With Koloko, it feels like he's fallen down some mock drafts. Is that accurate and correct whenever you talk about him? Because I feels like I haven't seen him take the step up like Mark Williams. Maybe has he taken a step down? Anyway, sorry.
I don't think he particularly has taken a step back. I think other guys have jumped him and he's just stood still. So not really anything to his fault. I think he's almost stayed the same. With Christian Koloko, I think he has a good chance to impact the game early. Yes, he was a junior, and juniors can be sometimes fool's gold, and he had a weird system in place before with Sean Miller. So new coach this year and really broke out, showcased a little bit of a jump shot, especially in his pro day. I think what really makes him capable of playing day one is he can handle switches and he can stay on an island. He doesn't, I really don't remember any, if many, plays where he was beat on a drive where a guy just left him in the rearview mirror. It didn't happen. However, he is really lacking discipline. He needs to reduce that foul trouble and is a little bit slow in processing some things. So that might burn him, but ultimately I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that the system he played in with another big and just a whole new system, learning another system, hurt him at Arizona in some ways.
And we just did a whole podcast a couple days ago about the center that the Mavericks need, right? Like, what's the type of center? What are the qualities in a center the Mavericks need? And it's like a really good interior finisher, a guy that can defend the rim really well, and a guy that can step out in space and defend. And he has all those tools and intangibles to be like, I don't know, the next Robert Williams, the next Kevon Looney, right? Like, he has those type of qualities.
Do we know his wingspan? I've been trying to look that up, but I just don't know what it is. Anyway.
It wouldn't shock me if Clutch is hiding it. No, I found it.
Oh, he's a Clutch client.
No, he's massive. 7 foot, 7'5" wingspan.
Wow.
I'm in.
And he's 6'10".
I'm
6'11".
in. Another Arizona guy. Let's go, guys. Come on. We can.
I got to watch more tape on this guy. But he doesn't shoot threes, right? He only tipped a 3 last year?
No, he took.
That's fine.
Yeah, he took some mid-range jump shots. That was pretty much it.
I need to look at his pick and roll numbers. Okay, for me, I'm going to package 2 guys together. Can we talk about the Ignite guys from the G League, Baeuchamp and Hardy? I think I'm more intrigued by Baeuchamp in the sense of I love that when the guy's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" with an over 7 foot wingspan. Which one of these guys do you like more than the other? Where do you see him going?
Yeah, it's not close for me. I like Majon Baeuchamp a lot more. I worry about his jump shooting. Don't get me wrong, but he has a lot to make up for it. Like you said, he's 6'6.5" with a 7'1" wingspan. I mean, that's a plus 6.5 wingspan. That's nuts. And that's actually the shoe's height. It's probably plus 8, like 7, 8.5, something like that. It's nuts how long he is. Great athlete. Another guy who he can get to the rim. You finally get a player over 6'6" that can get to the rim. The Mavs desperately need that. He has a really quick first step, athletic, and can play great defense. The jump shot is really the big question mark. Will it be a fatal flaw or just something that, like Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't have a good jump shot. He did in the playoffs, but he doesn't have a good jump shot and he still makes a living. Can Majon Baeuchamp do it on the wings?
All right. That's good. That I just don't know what obviously I don't watch a lot of G League. So, you've seen them play more than I have. And there's just, I think I'm more, Hardy. I feel like Hardy, I could be wrong on this, so correct me. I feel like Hardy was the hyped up prospect more when he was in high school. And now it's like, man, is he going to be like late first round pick after all of that? But
Yeah, I mean, Hardy was my number one pick or my number one player on my board before the season started. And Majon Baeuchamp is a guy who he's 21. He graduated high school, took a year off, and just trained and kind of fell off. He was a top 100 prospect recruit and fell off and just rejuvenated his career in the G League. And, with Hardy, I didn't answer that part, so I apologize. But
No.
The thing that scares me about Hardy is you guys remember Cam Thomas last year, right? The chucker, it was his label.
LSU.
Everything that people shamed him for, that he actually ended up being pretty decent at when he got to play, is what is, I feel like, is very accurate about Jaden Hardy. He doesn't really blow by guys, bad shot selection, better playmaker, but just not as good of a scorer. So I'm very out on Jaden Hardy myself.
It's tough when you're a scorer and you shoot 27% from three, right? Like it's like you were talking about with Dinwiddie. It's like you have to be either like super elite at getting the rim or super elite athlete. And so then once that athleticism is taken away with like an injury or something, then you're just so limited. But it's interesting. I think more people have Jaden Hardy higher than Beauchamp, right? Do you feel like you're going against the grain having Beauchamp higher than Hardy?
Yes and no. I think it's almost pretty mixed because Beauchamp is mocked to go higher, but yeah, on some boards he is ranked higher. I feel very confident in it though, that I'm not just doing it to be like, oh, everybody likes Jaden Hardy. Yeah, of course. But I do feel like a little bit on it's probably like 60-40, I would say, favor Beauchamp.
All right. Nikola Jovic, the 6'9" big from overseas. He is a player that I think a lot of people are really interested in. This is a player that, is compared to Jokic, not just because of the name, right? Because like the ball handling abilities, the ability to get a shot off from kind of anywhere on the floor. This is a chance for the Mavericks to take a huge swing on a guy that could really pay off for them. But what are your thoughts on Jovic?
Yeah, so actually taller than 6'9". He measured at 6'11". Which is crazy because of his role. So what he does is I don't know how to describe him other than like, imagine if you made Devontae Graham 7 foot or almost 7 foot, 6'11".
Hold on, wait. You just said Devontae Graham, like the guard from the Hornets, the really small guard that's like shifty and throws up shots from everywhere.
Yeah, so it's not 1-to-1, but the same way he doesn't play defense and he does not go to the rim, he's scared of the rim. And finishing at defenders, that is Jovic. And he also is a three-point shot creator. Like, that's pretty much Graham's main thing. Jovic runs the pick and roll at 6'11", finds open teammates, and can create step backs, lethal step back. I think he has killer handles. For 6'11", it's elite. And his jump shot stroke is just beautiful. It's one of the purest I've seen in this draft.
Isaac, what are your thoughts on the Mavericks taking a huge swing like that? Like, 'cause that's a huge risk, right? This guy could be Jokic, or he could be, I don't know, Jan Vesely. Like, I don't know, or Bargnani, I guess, maybe is maybe the other one that he could be. What's your thoughts on them taking a swing like that?
I really don't think he's going to be there at 26. I think somebody else is going to take the swing higher, just seeing the size and everything that Richard said. And so I've been kind of like crossing him off because I'm like, I don't think he's even going to be there for Dallas at 26. But it kind of like, what role is he going to play if he comes to Dallas? Is it going to be a 6-man bench type of role? Even like peak best version of him. Is he a 4? Is he a 5? Can he play the defense to play the 5? I haven't watched him enough to know the answers to these questions, but that's just my question. But scoring wise, I mean, obviously you watch all the clips of him scoring. It's like, oh, that's exciting. But I think he goes higher than where Dallas goes.
Richard, answer the question.
I'm banking on the pesky team from down on 35 from interfering with Jovic being there at 25. I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to be the one to take him. It's just going to be very frustrating. One pick away. The way I would just say like how he fits is, imagine if you put Danilo Gallinari on this team. I think it's a very, very 1-to-1 comp. The size, the creation, doesn't play much defense, doesn't go to the rim. But you look at Gallinari before the injuries, he was on track to be a near all-star player. So I think you just kind of look at him as a 6-man for now. And the most intriguing version I've heard is, what if he was a small ball 5? Because imagine him just isolating Gobert or someone, which is nuts because no center in the league could really do that from 3 outside of the MVPs.
So he's like a way better version of Bertans.
Yeah, imagine if Bertans had
killer handles, right? Like,
Yeah.
But like same defense.
Oh yeah. No, there's no drop off. No, it's close. I don't know. I don't want to pick who would be better.
Bertans would probably come after you and find you. All right, we got a couple more draft prospects to talk about. Kendall Brown, the wing from Baylor, I want to get to, and then there's a couple other that Isaac has we want to bring up coming up. All right, Isaac, we're here with Richard Stayman, aka Mavs Draft on Twitter, host of Locked On NBA Big Board, draft expert. Couple other players, prospects we want to talk about. Kendall Brown, the 6'6" wing from Baylor, kind of a high flyer, crazy athlete. He's a player that could be around the Mavericks range. What would the Mavericks be getting in a guy like Kendall Brown?
Yeah, you get the best cutter in the draft. I feel very confident in him being far and away. You watch his cuts and it's perfectly timed. When the ball handler picks it up, like quite literally the second he starts to pick up the ball, he's cutting and he beats the defense. He watches for ball watchers. It's stuff that for a freshman, he should not be able to do as smoothly as he does. Also a great defender. I think he can guard almost 1 through 5 with his athleticism and length. And on top of that, he can pass pretty well. So yes, a jump shot is an issue, but I think you can overlook some of that stuff when you look at a guy who's 6'7.5" with a 6'11" wingspan and was tested as the best athlete at the combine.
Wow, best athlete at the combine.
Yeah, there was a chart I saw where it was like just combining all the testing numbers, speed, agility, athleticism, length, all that stuff. And it showed the top one was Kendall Brown, bottom one was Patrick Baldwin.
Tough day for Pat Baldwin fans. So speaking of some measurements, there's a guy that I really liked. I think I mentioned him last time you were on the pod, but EJ Liddell, Ohio State. You can even tie Branham into this too. I feel like Malachi Branham, his teammate, has kind of gotten some love over the past few weeks for his shooting and stuff. But at the combine, Liddell specifically, so Liddell's like what, 6'7", 6'8", 240, 38%, 3-point shooter. But at the combine, it said Liddell had a wingspan of 6'11", 3/4, so basically a 7-foot wingspan, max vertical leap of 38 inches, which was 8th best at the combine, and a 35.5 standing vert, which is 1st at the combine. So this guy, why is EJ Liddell not up there in like the same group as like a Tari Eason or that next group of wings? Why is he slotted in the 20s right now? Because I really like this guy.
Yeah, I think it first starts with the fact that he's a junior. Just by nature, these guys get overlooked. He's still only.
Oh, this is my pet peeve.
I don't like it. I don't like
Jalen Brunson.
This is the nature of the game where it's like Desmond Bane. He was a young senior too. He didn't turn 22, which most seniors turn 22 in the middle of their season in college. He didn't turn it until what was supposed to be draft night 2020. And people are still like, oh, he's too old. And that's number one. Number two, though, is yes, the athletic numbers and everything did look really good. But in game, his issue is he struggles to guard drives. That's always something that he gets blown by far too easily. Who does he guard? And also, like, I liked his game as a freshman. I thought if he had declared, he would have been a 2nd-round pick. Now I've soured on him a little bit just because there's more and more to dive into with higher usage.
Yeah.
And my issue is he had a lot of mid-range shots. He had a system built around him. Yes, the 3-point and free throw percentage numbers probably indicated he will shoot. But at what level? Can he be an off-ball player? I don't know.
That's good. I was trying to look at there's another guy. Oh, Agbaji. Did I say that right for Kansas? Is there a chance that he drops?
You said it right. No chance that he drops past 20.
Dang it. You're not telling me good things.
I know. If Kansas hadn't won the title, there's a real chance. The thing with him is I think teams learned from Desmond Bane in a way. He's the prime example of we'll know if he gets picked in the lottery, which I think he will, being one of the best shooters in the draft, we will know. He's a 4-year player from Kansas. So we'll see what NBA teams learn.
Speaking of shooters, LaRavia, is he getting some first-round love, or where is he at right now?
Yeah, I'd put a good $1. This is pure speculation, but just knowing all the details of him kind of leaving events early and kind of shutting stuff down, I'd put a good $1 that Jake LaRavia goes first round. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas is the team that is potentially guaranteeing him. I think he's gotten one. I would love it. I know the stereotypes. I get it. I heard a grunt in there. And
it was more like an interested hum.
Oh, okay, good. Because I think he's great. You know, you look at a forward who has good size at around 6'8", 6'9", with only 6'10" wingspan, but he's so skilled in every other way. Soft touch at the rim, really good shooter. When I first watched him, I thought he was a center. He looks a lot bigger than that 6'8", 6'9". Has a beautiful spin and fake spin, knows how to manipulate guys with that, can get to the line. And best of all, he moves well on defense. He's not terrible, and he's definitely not good, but he holds his own on the defensive end.
Who's the best shooter in the first round outside of like some of the top guys?
Yeah, I want to cheat and say Jabari Smith. I think after that, probably Ochai Agbaji. There's some answers I could give that overthink some stuff, and one of them is a Mavs target. Wendell Moore is a candidate as well.
Okay.
Are there any names? So we've named at least 10 guys, probably 12 or 13. Is there any guys that we haven't mentioned yet that you're like, oh, this guy could be in the range for the Mavs and they should be interested in him?
Yeah, I think there's two. One of them is Wendell Moore, coincidentally timed. But you look at somebody who just played a perfect complementary role with stars at Duke. I think his role translates perfectly cleanly. Good shooting form, finally grew as a shooter this year. Good vision, really good in transition, doesn't turn the ball over. Think he can hold his own on defense and has a good body. And then the other, Ryan Rollins, is somebody who he keeps getting mocked in the second round. To me, he has the mold of Donovan Mitchell. You look at a guy who he measured very, very similarly. Played at Toledo, so we don't know how his game scales up. But you look at a pure scorer who can do anything out of the pick and roll, or not really pure scorer, but a scorer, and he can do anything out of pick and roll. Find the cutter, find the shooter, find the roller, and potentially even score himself. I think his game translates so well offensively.
If you're the Mavs this year, one of the big questions that we've had is, can they take a risk at all in the draft by taking a young player to try and get a cost control guy, or just trading for somebody that may not, be the best player, but at least they could get somebody solid to add to a rotation. Knowing this draft like as well as you do in this first round, and knowing the players that we just all talked about, you think the Mavericks should trade this pick, or you think they should take a risk with one of these guys?
There's two answers for me, and neither of them involve staying at 26. I think their best bet is trading with either Oklahoma City or Orlando, two teams that don't need multiple 30s picks. Orlando has the 32nd and 35th pick. Oklahoma City has 30 and 34. I would swap those two for one. Those teams get a guaranteed first-round pick, especially Orlando. Dallas could play with some flexibility, and I think they could use two players a lot better. The other option is trade out of it, see if you can get a 2023 first, but I don't think anybody's giving you that for a 26 pick.
Interesting. Richard Stayman, you got great stuff going on, NBA Big Board. You can go subscribe to that show. That's 10 prospects the Mavericks should check out. There's probably a bunch more that we'll talk about. We'll do deep dives into these guys later in the year. We'll do full draft profiles on some of the ones that we really want to target in on. So stick
later
around.
In the month, not the year, but
I was gonna say, it's still later in the year, right? Later in the draft year? I don't know.
September 10th. So we have Jaden Hardy profile coming out.
We'll do it in October. There you go. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Now make sure to go listen to the Locked On NBA Big Board show. Rafael Barlow and Richard Stayman. There's great stuff from him all the time, and on NBA Big Board, as well as player rankings. And of course, Big Board's free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
He's on.
Boom.